Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Every Marvel movie ever. Da-na-na-na-na. I think it's episode 40 and Iron Man 2, but I cannot remember. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Gabe and Franny are back as always. Da-na-na-na-na-na. This is the theme song. Yeah.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Every Marvel Movie Ever. I'm your host, Gabe Thomas. With me, as always, is your co-host, Francisco Alcala, and today, after a brief absence, we are finally back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe talking about May 7th of 2010's film, Iron Man 2. Directed...
Weird way to introduce
I know, I don't know why I said that. I was trying to make it natural, but it wasn't at all.
That was very unnatural.
I should have said director Jon Favreau's Iron Man 2 because he came back for this, and then he never came back again because there was a lot of studio stuff, and they were like, put S.H.I.E.L.D. in the movie. Put S.H.I.E.L.D. in the movie. Put the S.H.I.E.L.D. in the movie. We need to connect this one. This is like the most shameless. You gotta do things to get your series off the ground, but some of this movie suffers because it's like, we're gonna have Avengers, there's a Captain America shield, there's a comic book. It's like,
look at the end credit scene, there's literally just a hammer and thunder.
Hammer. Yeah. It's like,
I wonder what the next movie's gonna be.
Yeah, and then it was Captain America, which was surprising. No. And we're talking about Thor next week. I just want to say that now, because if I don't say it now, then we go to the end and we're like, how many movies are left?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I am always like, Iron Man 2, bigger budget, $200. Box office, $623.09. So that's pretty good. What I didn't know about this movie is it was written by Justin Theroux, who wrote Tropic Thunder, which is, I think, Robert Downey Jr., because he worked on him in that movie in blackface, and was like, yeah, you should write Iron Man 2. And they were like, I guess. Tropic Thunder's not very good. And he's also, like, a really famous actor. Like, he's in Mulholland Drive and American Psycho and Zoolander. Like, he's a really well-established guy. I had no idea he wrote this. This fucking really surprised me. Iron Man 2 is usually the Marvel movie that gets shit on the most with, like, the Thor movies. The first two Thor movies and Iron Man 2 and maybe the Ant-Man movies are the ones that people kind of point to and are like, that one's not that, those aren't that good. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's good. It's not perfect, but it's fun.
It's not perfect, but I think it's a little more fun than the first one.
Oh, no.
Yeah, here's my bad opinion. I think this one's a little better than the first one.
Yeah.
Or at least I liked it a little better. I don't know if it's actually better.
That's an awful thing to say. Yeah, okay, yeah, you know what? You can do whatever you want. I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't know that he was going to say that.
I can't wait to get shit on for liking
this
movie.
So you gotta defend yourself, Franny. What do you think this movie does better than the first one? There's more explosions. It's bigger.
Yeah,
it's
no.
Bigger. There's a more scantily clad. This is the horniest Marvel movie ever made. There's a boob cam in this movie at the start.
It's better because Scarlett Johansson is in it.
She's good. The first appearance of Black Widow, which is nice because we had to introduce all the Avengers before they showed up. Can't wait for that Hawkeye cameo and Thor.
Yeah.
That's so great.
No,
why wouldn't he go for a gun? Because he's Hawkeye, I guess.
Yep.
He almost grabs the gun, then he goes for the bow and arrow, and nerds all across the world in 2011 went, yay, Green Arrow! And they're like,
oh no, Hawkeye.
And I can open a pickle jar, freaking Hawkeye.
No, it's only better because of Mickey Rourke.
I probably prefer Ivan Vanko to fucking Obadiah Stane, I guess. It's not a better performance, but it's more entertaining.
It's definitely more entertaining.
Mickey Rourke is hard to read. He's really good in some things. He's an Oscar-nominated actor, but sometimes he makes really baffling choices.
Give me board.
I need my board. If I want my board. It's like a
specific bird?
There's a
back
bird
in
back
Russia?
In Russia. I want my board. We'll get you a bird. We'll get you 10 birds. Yeah, no, there's some really fun stuff in here, Franny. But what do you actually think is better?
No, I know that this one actually isn't better than the first one.
That's
I think
true.
I just like it more.
Okay, but why?
I'm not even sure. I just feel like it's generally a more fun movie than the first one, but I'm not exactly sure what it is.
It's probably more fun. But I think it's probably more fun because it's much dumber.
Oh no, it
It's kind
absolutely
of-
is.
Like, I like it more than the average person likes it, and I've still seen it probably 60 plus times, but, I mean, there's some big problems in this movie.
There definitely are. The scene that pretty much sums up this entire movie is Tony being drunk inside the Iron Man suit and, like, falling over.
It's maybe the biggest mistake in any of these films, is to put in
Possibly.
a scene, because, okay, in the 70s we have a groundbreaking story in comics, Demon in a Bottle, that deals with Tony's alcoholism. It also deals with the Justin Hammer stuff and the government wanting to take his suit stories. So much of that is from that comic, lifted, put in this movie. And that comic is groundbreaking because it's like, superhero comics is usually a guy in a fancy suit punches the bad guy and saves the day. But that's like, we're going to deal with alcoholism in the age of the comic code. Like, we're going to do this huge thing that you just don't do, and it's incredible. The way they portray his alcoholism in this entire series,
Not very good.
This is the best depiction of Tony Stark ever, probably, but this movie really tries to take it down. Like, he's fine in it, but he's not good. He's kind of sleeping through it. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Having him just being like, I'll blow shit up and I'm gonna piss in the suit and whatever. It's like, this isn't right at all.
I mean, like, I get it, but also kind of a bad decision.
It's like last week when we were talking about how the studio is like, oh no, don't put PTSD in the movie. That's too tough. Don't put real alcoholism in this movie. He's wacky. He's a
Put
wacky,
funny watermelon explosion.
crazy party dude, Tony Stark. Also, he's fucking dying.
Yeah.
He has toxic blood because of his weird metal heart, so he has to invent a new element.
Even though he doesn't invent it, he just rediscovers it or something.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Because his dad sent him a message in a tape that he somehow knew he would see.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that kind of... Because I do like this movie, but there's so much bad stuff.
There's a lot of bad things in it, but I feel like that makes it more enjoyable.
Oh my god.
Because it's bad, but it's like entertainingly bad. It's not like
But
actually
it's not like
bad.
actually bad. So entertainingly bad,
okay,
I think like it's not a bad movie. It's just
I think it's not bad. It's like questionable.
I think it's a good movie that makes a lot of wrong decisions. If I had to sum it up in a sentence, Iron Man 2, it's good and it's fun and you can watch it, but it's not like it doesn't do that much new stuff. I don't know. I think it makes a lot of leaps that it shouldn't.
Yeah, that's not wrong, but I still think it's pretty entertaining to watch.
No, it's entertaining. I love the opening shoot to thrill sequence. That's incredible. That's so fun. He's just flying through the sky and he lands and he's just being prime Tony Stark. It's great. It starts perfectly. And then, right out of the gate, you get your Stan Lee cameo and you get...
It's Howard Stern.
And
no, not Howard Stern. What the fuck? No. Larry King. There we go.
Yeah,
I was going to say Stephen
Stark.
King, and that's still the wrong person.
Oh, yeah. Because the first one he was Hugh Hefner, and this one he was Larry King. I wonder if Larry King has seen this and was like, oh, I
hope
would say
so.
okay to that. But, he's probably friends with Robert Downey Jr. Who knows? Seth Green cameos at the start of this movie from, like, Robot Chicken Guy. He's fucking Dr. Evil's son in Austin Powers movies. He's the guy with red hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just, like, he's at the start. Like, when there's all those, like, quick cuts of people, he's in one of those.
Oh. Okay.
Which is weird because he voices Howard the Duck, but that's fine. Whatever. Like in the Guardians movies, he's Howard the Duck, so that's confusing.
Oh.
There's a lot of weird Marvel cameos in the start of that movie because the fucking news reporter, that's Olivia Munn, who goes on to play Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse, and we get Kate Mara, who's the Invisible Woman in Four Stick. So she's like the chick who gives him the car. There's so
that's a lot of
much
people.
at the front of this movie. And then the worst scene in the movie happens, which is Tony Stark and Pepper Potts the first time they interact, and every time they interact, it's just talking over each other. Like, it's just, you can't even really understand what they're saying because they're just yelling over each other, and it's awful.
I think the funniest part is that Gwyneth Paltrow fucks up one of the lines and they just kept it in the movie.
Okay.
Like, she just starts stumbling over words and they didn't do another take. They're just like, it's fine. No one's gonna hear it anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to reshoot any of those scenes.
No.
That's my least favorite aspect of this movie is their whole
It's the
dynamic
worst.
is so bad constantly.
Complete disarray.
You understand that? No, our stocks have never been higher.
Yes,
You
from a
are
managerial standpoint.
Well, if it's messy,
Let me
then
give
let's
you an
double back.
example.
They're fine in the first one. They're fine in the third one and every other appearance. But for some reason, something happened. I don't know if it's a Justin Theroux problem or what, but something happened. Their whole thing is so fucked up and bad. I don't know what they did. Because it usually works, but in this, it's just screaming over each other. It's just two people talking over each other, and you can't even fucking understand what they're saying. You just know that they're mad. And when you do hear what they're saying, it's like, oh, wow. They're just insufferable together.
Yeah, it's like, why is this in the movie, though? Because I don't think any of it pushes the movie forward. It's just kind of there.
Well, until he makes her CEO of the company, which is something that's happened in the comics before, but not under those kinds of circumstances where it's just like, oh, I don't want to do shit. You be the fucking CEO. Tony Stark has been the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. before. In this, he's like, I can't run my company. What the fuck? No! I'm just here to fucking hang out with DJs and whatever, and supermodels and box with Iron Man gloves.
And
He has
die.
There's Iron Man boxing gloves in this movie.
I mean,
so great. I'm gonna buy some.
I didn't even notice that they were Iron Man themed. I thought
They
they were
have
just red.
repulsors on the
Oh, okay.
palms.
That sounds about right.
Sure. Yep. Great. God damn it. God damn it, Iron Man 2. I do feel bad, though, because this has one of the best characters in the MCU, probably. Justin Hammer is the best. Sam Rockwell is the most Sam Rockwell he's ever been. I love him. I was watching Charlie's Angels the other night, and he's the villain in the movie.
Okay.
Charlie's Angels 2000, by the way, not the new one. I was watching the old Charlie's Angels.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah, he's great. But he's so...
Just the like the like 3-minute long scene of him describing guns.
Oh, yeah, that's
The
when he gets to
ex-wife.
shine, yeah, and then, we see it, because all of his technology is...
Shit.
Yeah, none of it works unless it's made by Ivan Vanko. He's great, though. He's so good all the time, and he should be in every Marvel movie. He should be in all of them. I don't know why.
He's my favorite.
He is my favorite. He's so good. He's. I love when he's dancing. Like, he's dancing to the podium at the fucking expo, and...
Take his pillows. Take his shoes. Take his bird.
Yeah, I thought, you and that bird are getting real chummy. I thought that wasn't your bird. What's going on? You know what? Take the bird.
This is how I feel. How do you feel? You feel good? This is how I feel.
Because Christina Everhart from the first movie shows back up because Sam Rockwell and Leslie Bibb, who plays her, they've been together since like 2007. They're still together. So I don't even think they're married. But yeah, they show up in this, and I just love when he's like,
Tony, I love Tony Stark. Tony loves me. We're not competitors.
I'm criticizing this movie a lot for being really bad to Tony Stark's character, but it has one of my favorite Tony Stark scenes ever, which is the press conference.
I know.
It's working. We're safe. America is secure. You want my property? You can't have it. But I did you a big favor. I have successfully privatized world peace.
Because the military, led by Gary Shandling, rest in peace, he's trying to take over the Stark, so he's like, yeah, you know what? You have this really powerful weapon. You should hand it in to us. And the reason that he wants to do that, obviously, I mean, it won't be revealed for another 4 years, but that's because he's a fucking Nazi. That's why. Because he's a Nazi.
Wait, that's actually why?
Because he's Hydra.
I forgot.
How'd you forget? That's what the Hail Hydra scene.
Because I haven't seen any of these movies in like years.
Everything's set up. Peter Parker's in this movie, by the way.
Yeah, he's
Which is-
the kid in the Iron Man helmet.
Knowing that...
Which is that actually official,
Yeah,
or is it?
yeah,
Okay.
no, that's
I thought that was
confirmed
just
now.
something he said, and people were just like, "Yeah, okay."
No, well, maybe, I don't know, but it's canon now forever, so that's great. I tried to, what I did for Annie was I tried to find that kid and ask him to come on our podcast, but then I found out that kid is Jon Favreau's kid, and I was like, ooh, I'm not gonna do that. I thought it was just nobody, so I can't do that, but another fun fact, I guess, that is Jon Favreau's kid.
Yeah, of course, it's Jon Favreau's
I
kid.
didn't even find that out it's not even on the IMDb. I just found that out trying to track that kid down, and then quickly realizing, oh.
Okay, what was the process?
I was like, I was thinking about, what guests would be fun to get on the show? Who's like little bit parts that I could find? And I was like, oh yeah, what about that kid who's Peter Parker? I'll ask him how he thinks about, how interesting is that to be retconned to be the first MCU appearance of Peter Parker or whatever. And then I was looking up, who played that kid? I found out it was Max Favreau, and I was like, nope, you can't do that. Can't fuck with the Favreaus. I thought it was just gonna be like a nobody. Justin Hammer's great in this movie. Ivan Vanko in this movie is confusing and weird, but I kind of like him.
I kind of like him too, but what do you think is confusing about him? That he's Russian?
No, that's not confusing.
No,
It's just...
okay, what is kind of confusing is what he's saying whenever he's speaking English. I can't understand it.
If you can make God bleed, then people will cease to believe in him.
If you could make God bleed, no one would believe it.
There will be blood in the water.
If I want my board,
My board.
I make them salute. They make salute. Yeah.
They make salute? What does they make salute mean?
You know, they make salute in Russian means like fireworks. So yeah, he's technically telling him, yeah, these guys are gonna blow up. Oh yeah, another movie that ends with a guy with another Iron Man suit, and they blow him up.
They blow him up with like a nuclear blast.
Yeah, because they shoot the beams together and they meet in the middle and it blows up. Yeah.
I kind of like the fight between Tony and Rhodey.
Yeah, it comes after the worst scene in the movie, but
Yeah,
it's
pretty good.
It's pretty good. I like that it's like it is the Mark II from Iron Man, like it's that weird chrome one.
Yeah.
It's not been War Machined yet, so and it's funny to see Don Cheadle and not Terrence Howard. And I love the first time you ever see him.
Oh, that they focus on it?
Yeah, and he says,
Look, it's me. I'm here to deal with it. Let's move on.
because he's talking to the audience. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he's talking to the audience. He's like, because why would you say that to Tony? It
Yeah.
doesn't really make sense. I was watching Crash the other day. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
It's from 2004. It's about racism. It's one of the worst movies ever made. It won Best Picture in 2006.
How?
Because it's about racism and it has all the actors in it. And so everyone
Oh, okay.
was like, oh, we gotta give this an Oscar. And, you know, it tricks dumb people into thinking, like, oh, this movie really makes you think about racism or whatever.
No, it doesn't.
No, it's fucking horrendous. My dad and I were rewatching it at, like, 4 a.m. the other day, and we were laughing the entire time because
Is it
it's
that bad?
so atrocious. It's just so... And everyone's in it. Brendan Fraser and Sandra Bullock are in it.
Oh, God.
Fucking,
I think we've talked about this movie on the show before.
maybe.
I feel like
We talk about
recognize it.
Swordfish a lot. Maybe
Yeah.
we talk about crap. The reason I'm bringing up that, though, is because I
Just Don Cheadle
totally
in it.
did not realize Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard are both in that
Oh,
movie.
no.
And that is incredible. Also, because I'm gonna totally forget, because we have to talk about the race car scene. If this podcast feels like it's all over the place, that's a reflection of the movie. That we're just jumping from thing to thing. Or maybe I am, I don't know.
I think that's just how the show works in general.
Yeah. There's no structure. That's fine. Who
No,
fucking
there's no
cares?
structure here.
We're just blurting out the first things that we think of. That's why Franny said Iron Man 2 is better than Iron Man 1.
It's more fun. It's not better.
You can think it's better, Frank. Don't let me turn you around.
I'm thinking it's definitely not better, but I just think it's more entertaining and fun. So in that way, I think it's better. But as a movie, it's not better.
It's a better popcorn flick that you can turn your brain off and watch.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate.
Yeah. People pick on X-Men Origins Wolverine for having an unironic don't look at an explosion. A race
this
car
one's-
blows up and Ivan Vanko is like, he just walks. And he's just walking and it just happens behind him, Franny.
Yeah.
This is the same year that the other guys came out, and that movie kind of destroyed the walk away from an explosion cliche, because...
So many people died in that scene, and I don't think anyone in the movie ever talks about that.
No.
Like, every single racer in that race definitely died.
But Ivan Vanko doesn't die even though he gets hit with a car
Like,
four
four
times. Yeah.
He just coughs up a little blood.
Yeah, and then he's fine.
And then he
and
gets-
he's still whiplashing.
Yeah, and then he gets dragged away, and you lose.
And he's naked in prison.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, and that's when he's like, if you could make God bleed, would you do it? Ivan Vanko, what a great character. What a great
What happened to
idea.
him? Is he ever brought up again?
Because he blows up.
But is he still... Oh, no.
No, he
yeah,
blows
he's-
up. Franny, he exploded.
People live through, like, weird shit in these movies. I don't know.
But he exploded, Franny. And also, nobody cares about him.
Yeah, I mean... What about his board?
Yeah, well, his board is also dead. They put it in a bag and drowned it in the river or something. I don't know what they did. I assume, though. That's what
Probably.
they drowned it. Okay, well, the race car scene is the most iconic scene and probably the best scene in the movie. Because when we see Whiplash, he has his whips out and he whips. And
they go
everybody is
whoosh.
like, wow. And they're like, "Ba-choo, ba-choo, ba-choo." And he cuts the cars in half. And it's cool. It happens right after the Elon Musk cameo, which is weird.
God, that was
Did that
so...
throw you? Did you not remember that?
No, I remembered it. I just didn't... Okay, I knew that he had a cameo in one of them, so I didn't know if it was this one or if it was in 3.
Yeah, it's
so I was just looking for it, and then it happened.
It happens. Oh, you don't have to look for it. It just happens.
No,
it says, hey,
definitely...
Elon Musk, how's SpaceX? Yeah, actual dialogue from Iron Man 2.
I have an idea for an electric jet. We'll make it happen.
Great. Sounds great. Come to the expo. Come to the Stark Expo. Come to the Epcot. I mean, the Stark Expo. Whoops. World of Tomorrow. Well,
we're not Disney yet, right? It's for another. It's not for another couple.
The deal happened in 2009, but it doesn't actually come into effect until like the Avengers. People know that. I don't know why. I'm sure people who listen to this know.
You always gotta double check.
Sure. Yeah.
Just like doing basic math on a calculator. Gotta make sure you're right.
Franny always types in 2 + 2. You can never remember.
I just do 1 + 1. You know, you just gotta double check, and then you gotta put it again. You gotta triple check.
Yeah, that's
maybe the calculator's wrong.
A plus and yeah, no, you gotta go through a couple calculators, your phone calculator, you check on everybody's calculator in the classroom, and then you can write it down. Then you go to the next step of the equation.
Yeah, then the first step is finished.
And then you gotta do the other 8. So, yeah, no, that's why Franny isn't in math classes with other people anymore. It has my favorite suit in any of these movies, the Mark V, which is in the suitcase. It's red, it's silver, it's beautiful, it's so awesome.
I like the suitcase, but I don't know if I like the color.
Oh, I love the color because I think it's so different from all the other ones.
Yeah, it's definitely it looks cool, but I feel like I still kind of like the red and yellow over the red and silver.
Sure, I like the red and silver. I think that's super cool, just because it's like you don't see because there's in the comics there's like the Silver Centurion or whatever, and then it's nice to have such a new kind of fresh thing.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of variation when it comes to the suits, even though there's like 80-something.
Yeah, I mean, some are more different than others, but most of them go back to just being red and gold or yellow or whatever. Because, like...
Based on his car.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Also, it's weird that his car is, his race car is blue, because it was supposed to be like an Iron Man car, but Tony Stark, or Robert Downey Jr. was like, I want the blue one. And they're like, okay, I guess. It gives contrast. I think it'd be more ridiculous if he had Iron Man boxing gloves, a weird like pop art Iron Man painting in his house, and then like an Iron Man car as well. That's probably a little much. But
I kind of wish that it was just like the hood of the car was just
the Iron Man face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's an arc reactor in the middle of the steering wheel or whatever. Yeah, like it could be fun. It would sell more toys probably, but yeah. It's weird that such an egotistical maniac would be like, I'll go settle on the car colors. That one can just be blue.
I mean, he wasn't supposed to drive it,
but
so...
it still says his name on it. He still owns it. I don't know. I don't know. I love that scene. Interesting thing about the Mark V, though, I don't think it can fly. Like, I don't think it has repulsors on the boots, so I don't think it can fly, which is interesting because I think it's for emergencies.
Oh.
But now, or I guess not now because he fucking blew it up. He blew up. Yeah, blew it up. But back when Tony Stark was making suits, I feel like now any suit he makes is way more advanced than the last suit. Like, even an emergency suit would still have everything in it, probably, plus some extra things, probably. It's interesting that he has, like, a suit that's like, no, I'll go modest with this one. This one it won't fly. It'll just have,
this
emergency
one will be
power.
A little suitcase.
It'll be a little
suitcase. I can just be protected in. It's
a
shell.
We still get stuff like, because, in, like, Civil War, there's, like, the helicopter suit thing. He has like one built into a helicopter or whatever, which is ridiculous, but I guess he would. And like we were saying, first appearance of Natasha Romanoff. How's the hair, Franny? It's good. It's not her best hair. We have to talk about her hair in every movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's her best. It's probably the best in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, I think it goes Avengers, Age of Ultron, and then this probably.
Yeah,
and then Infinity War.
And then Endgame.
And then Endgame. And then there's like 100 pegs down, and then it's Winter Soldier. Because, oh my god, why would you do it, Nat? Why'd you do it? I wonder how many hairstyles she'll have in her own movie. That's what I'm more interested about than anything else.
She does all of them.
She better go through every hairstyle. Because this one, it's like it's red, but it's not that red.
Yeah.
It's not that red.
And it's like, isn't it the longest it ever is? Because it isn't usually a lot shorter.
Yeah, especially in the Avengers movies. It's super short. Interesting that in Avengers it's short, and then in Winter Soldier it's long, and then it's back to the same Avengers haircut in Age of Ultron, pretty much. That's interesting. I don't like that. I don't like that she, like, in the middle, she was like, no, now it'll be long.
She just gets a haircut.
Only for Avengers movies, though.
Yeah.
That's weird, right? Like, if it was... It's okay for her to have short hair, long hair, short hair, but it's in the Avengers movies, she has short hair, and everything else she's like, oh, Civil War hair. That's probably better. That's probably right under Iron Man 2 hair. I'm glad we did this.
This is a good use of a couple minutes
She's
of the
the
podcast.
only one where we can really talk about the hair, because everybody else has consistent hair throughout all of them, except Chris Hemsworth. We'll get there. Next week, we'll talk about that.
Bleached eyebrows.
Oh, how much do you think we're going to be talking about his eyebrows next week?
Much.
And Loki's short-ass Trinity from the Matrix hair.
Oh, God, no, I don't want to.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I don't wanna do
2011 is a fucking great year, by the way.
Why?
Because we have Thor, and then we have First Class and First Avenger. Wait a minute, that's interesting. They both have first in the name. We have those two, and then we have Spirit of Vengeance. Because 2012 is just the Avengers and the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I should mention, from this year forward, there has never been a single year without an MCU movie. So, that's interesting. From going forward, not a single year. Most of them have at least two. In fact, 2012 is the last year that we only had one. So...
And now we're to the point where they're like, 4 movies a year, let's do it.
And 3 shows, yeah.
Yeah, 4 movies, or no, it's like
3 movies.
It's like 9 movies and 7 shows in the next 2 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you take it like Runaways and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that stuff into account, found out that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still has a season left, by the way.
My
It's
God.
not over. They're still holding on.
Like, it's been on for...
It's been on since 2013.
Yeah, hasn't it been on since
after
the first
Iron...
Avengers
No, since
movie?
after Iron Man 3. There's a bit of a gap, but not enough. That's
God.
still 7 years, Franny. That's 7 years of Agents of
Who
S.H.I.E.L.D.
watches Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Apparently somebody. Write in. Email us if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Please tell us if you actually watched the
MarvelMoviePod@gmail.com.
movie. Or the show, fuck.
Yeah. Oh my god. You know what? Maybe it's great. I really liked Agent Carter when it was on. But that's okay. That's the only like non-Netflix Marvel show I ever watched, because you know there's still like Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways. Like you would be like, isn't there only those two? It's like no, there's unlimited ones.
Thanks, Freeform.
Yeah, Freeform. Freeform. But can we have Freeform t-shirts, Randy? Somebody make us Freeform t-shirts. The worst streaming service of all time.
I still remember when it used to be ABC Family.
I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still on ABC.
Yeah, it's on ABC.
I remember that they originally, because we talked about the Sif thing, but they used to try to tie him to the movies, like, because, you know, like, the Extremis thing in Iron Man 3 was, like, the weird superpowers that Aldrich Killian had. The first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is about that. It's about, like, a guy who has the Extremis virus. And then, eventually, they would do, like, after the Hydra thing happened in Winter Soldier, then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was all like, oh, who's Hydra, who's not? But other than that, it's like, I don't think they ever tie into the movies anymore. Like, I think they just gave up. It's
like, there's too many of these fucking movies.
There was, like, a lot of stuff about the movies in, like, the first season of Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and then they're like, yeah, fuck it. Stop. We won't even say Hulk anymore. Like,
it's because it's, like, it's their own thing at that point.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not, which is weird. Like, sometimes they address it. Sometimes there's newspapers that talk about the New York incident, and it's like, nobody fucking cares.
I always thought it was weird that they called it the New York incident when, like, all of these movies take place in New York, so there's, like, a new incident every month.
Yeah, well, I guess that was the only alien one until, like, you know, Infinity War happened. It's interesting, though, that there's only really been aliens on Earth those 2 times. 3 times, I guess, with Endgame, but...
I mean, does Thor count as an alien?
Thor is an alien, but
he's like
there aren't a lot of it. Well, yeah, he's an alien, but you know, it's not like it's not googly eyes.
Yeah, it's not another planet alien.
He
it's
looks
just
like a person. He looks like a human being.
It's another dimension alien instead of just another planet alien.
Well, I mean, I think he's from another planet, but he still looks like a person. Like if fucking.
I thought Asgard was like its own thing. Like it was just a thing that exists.
No, it's like a planet, but everybody is weird towards it because they're like, "Oh, you guys don't talk to other planets. You're doing a weird Shakespeare thing." Because like Guardians of the Galaxy, everybody is like very like normal people. Like it's a lot more Earth, and then Asgard is just this weird exception because of when it happened in the timeline. That it's like you guys are playing dress up. What the fuck are you doing? That's so weird. It's not like they don't know what Earth is.
They're just LARPing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, they literally it's a planet of LARPing for me. And I guess good for them, but it's just, I think it just makes people in the universe uncomfortable. I mean, like, why are you doing this? That's weird.
Just leave them alone.
You guys aren't
they're
cool
doing their
aliens.
own thing.
You're weird aliens. But so you did make fun of the end credit scene for Annie, but I think that this is how they should be done. I think it's better to be like, here's a hint of what's coming next. Here's a thing that you know, instead of being like, oh, look. There's a big cat monster that's running around the streets, which is what the end credit scene is in Thor: The Dark World.
What?
There's a big cat monster, and it runs around the streets of, like, New York or England or wherever that movie takes place, and they're like, oh!
What is it related to? Just nothing?
I think because there's all those portals in that movie.
Yeah, but...
I think it comes through one of the portals from another dimension.
Okay, I thought it was supposed to relate to another movie and not just...
Nope.
Yeah, that's not very good.
Yeah, it's not very good. So I think it's okay for him to be like, hey, here's Thor's hammer. Get ready.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. I remember when Age of Ultron came out, or like before it came out, there was like a leaked Spider-Man end credit scene. It's pretty good. It's better than the actual end credit scene in that movie. Like, it looks pretty convincing because it's like, it's shot like a movie theater screen, so it's blurry, and it looks kind of good. I kind of wish that was an end credit scene instead.
What was the end credit scene for
It was
Ultron?
the I'll do it myself one, where Thanos comes in and grabs the glove, and he's like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Oh, I thought that was the first Avengers movie.
No, the first one is, he's like...
Oh, no, that's just the first time
Thanos,
yeah.
death, or whatever, yeah. And people in 2012 were like, who the fuck is that? Is that a purple Hulk? But it wasn't. I guess it kind of was.
And then all 5 people that were reading the comics at the time, they were like, it's Thanos.
Yeah.
Except he's like weird pink color.
He's way different, and he's played by a different actor.
Yeah, who played him?
It's just some fucking nobody guy. I don't know. It's like, I don't know, like a voice actor or something.
It was just somebody that was like in the office. It's just like,
probably.
Okay, we just need you to just voice him.
He probably
has
did,
one
like,
line.
did the Chitauri voices or whatever, and they were like, can you just do this? We'll make a CGI model. You don't have to put on the makeup. Just fucking whatever. Like,
He'll be a big CGI monster in a chair.
Yep.
In space, and you just gotta say like one thing.
He just sits in a chair until he shows up and kills everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Until he literally beats the shit out of all of the Avengers and then destroys half the universe.
they really pushed the Howard Stark is Walt Disney in this, because they made John Slattery look exactly like Walt Disney.
It was weird.
Like, and he's doing the Stark Expo, which is basically like the Epcot Center. It's a big dome. And it's like, you guys know what you're doing, right? You know what this looks like.
Or it's just like D23, the yearly Disney Expo that they have.
Oh, I guess so, yeah. Not looks-wise.
Not looks-wise, but...
Disney, but yeah.
But yeah, there literally is just like an Epcot thing, like, just there.
It's just there. And he's like, yeah, I'm Walt Disney. I really like the scene where he's watching that video, and he's like, oh, you're my greatest creation. That's great, because, he's always had this thing about his dad, and then 9 years later in Endgame, we finally get a resolution of that, because these movies come around, even though this one isn't that great. It's pretty good, but there's a lot of really dumb stuff in it.
Yeah, I do like... Okay, I like the idea of the scene, but how they did it was kind of stupid in my opinion. I still don't understand how on the outtakes for the Expo reel
that was on there.
They just left in the message for for Tony.
No,
just
that's fair.
It's just
yeah,
there.
Especially when earlier in the Expo he's like yelling at Tony. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And then he's like, "I love you. You're my son. I love you." It's like, oh, what?
This is weird.
That's a little weird. Yeah. No, it's definitely a little weird. But I like the. I don't like how it's worked in, but I think if you just take that scene of him watching that video, it's really emotional and effective. Coulson's in this. Yeah, he's not great.
Yeah, no.
Nobody's that good in this. Except Nick Fury. He's still bringing his A game.
Yeah.
Even though he shouldn't be in this movie for as much as he is. He's in a lot. He's in it way too much.
He's in it a lot for, like, Nick Fury standards. I don't know if he's actually in the movie a lot.
No, he's in like 3 scenes, though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like any more than, like, 1 or 2 short scenes is already, like, way more than usual.
It's the most, like, we're pushing for this kind of thing. And it's like, ugh. When does this movie take place? Because it should take place in 2010, right?
It takes place,
in 2000,
I think there's a time jump. It's like 6 months.
6 months after Iron
the first
Man 1.
one. Yeah.
So it has to be like 2009. But also remember, after Homecoming fucked up the timeline, they made everything really confusing. They were like, Iron Man 2, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk take place in the same year. It's like,
oh yeah, I think
maybe Iron Man takes place in 2010, and then those ones take place in 2011. or something. I don't know. It's confusing. It's confusing.
I
for
don't
me.
know.
They really fucked it up.
It's not that important.
It was fine when everything was just like, and there's like, oh, both Guardians movies take place in the same year. They take place like 2 months apart. It's like, what? A lot of character development has happened. Everybody looks older. So Noah says, bro, this is so good movie. I swear people are crazy. Rockwell steals the entire damn show. Top tier MCU performance. Absolutely. He's so fucking great in this. I miss him so much. He's in that All Hail the King one shot, which we'll talk about when we get to Iron Man 3. But even aside from him, the rest of the movie is super engaging and has excellent action. It builds on the previous in interesting ways, but also does some great establishing and seed planning for the rest of the universe to come. All in all, a super fun flick with some great performances and some of the best Iron Man action we've ever gotten. I love when him and Rhodey are taking down all the hammer drones. That's super fun. Oh my god. Okay. Maybe, like, the thing that makes me laugh the most in this movie is so fucking dumb. It's when they find out that Whiplash has been making them drones, and he's like, they can't fit their head in there. You try to put your head in there, Jack.
Try to put your head in there.
Put his head in there, he just puts it on his head.
It doesn't fit. How do you fit a person in there?
Every time I see that, it's so funny, because he just, like, puts the back of the helmet on the top of his head. He's like, oh, can't do it.
Drone better.
Drone better. People cause problem. The Rhodey, Tony versus all the drones end action sequence. That's better than the end of the last one, I think. That's where I'm like, okay, yeah, you really improved on that. You have a big gun. You aren't the big gun. That's great. That's like the scene that kind of cements the Tony-Rhodey friendship. Because everybody hates Tony in this because he's an asshole. But then, towards the end, it gets better.
Because he fixes things, like, kind of.
And he fixes himself, which is good. Natasha Romanoff.
Fucks it up again.
Having fucking Natalie Rushman work 9 to 5
Working 9 to 5
for him is interesting. It's weird. She's a sex object.
Yeah.
And then, every woman in this is, actually, except Pepper, who just yells.
Yeah.
All women are either, like, sexual or they nag. That's not good. This is probably the worst, like, for women Marvel movie if I had to pick one. I mean, this isn't great. This doesn't make people look great.
I feel like of all the movies it could have been in, an Iron Man one makes the most sense.
It's still bad.
It's still bad.
It's still a big mistake and we shouldn't have done it. That's really shitty that they did that.
I don't like it.
No, there's a lot in this movie. Not good. Oh, at the end of the movie also, when, like, he's with Pepper and now they're together and Rhodey's like, hey, can I take the suit home? And he's like, no. And he's like, I wasn't asking. It's like, yeah, you were. You said, I'm going to take this home, okay? Question mark? Yeah, no. I didn't ask. You did. Okay, whatever. Michael Tanner says Justin Hammer is still one of the best MCU villains because he's real and he's a prick. Yeah, that's just a real guy. Like, he just is a guy, which is also great about him, I think. Alex Funder says he thinks he gets more hate than it deserves. The biggest criticism is objectifying the hell out of Black Widow in her first appearance, and the biggest positive is Justin Hammer. Yeah, absolutely, that's what we've been saying. Exactly right. Josh...
I'm not the only one that likes this movie.
Yeah, I know, okay. I've been beating this movie. I like this movie. I think this is a fun movie. I think it gets a lot wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't hate this movie. It's still better than a lot of the stuff we've watched, and there's some great, great, great moments in it. There's some bad moments in it, is all I'm saying. Oh, we have so much this week that I can't read all of these. But Mitch Jones, he says the opening skydive sequence is one of the top 10 Marvel Cinematic Universe moments. That's so great. I love when he lands, he's in the full tux, and he's like, oh, it's good to be back. Yeah. It's so great.
The fucking cheerleaders.
Yeah, with the Iron Man outfit. Like, that's a kind of a fun, like, oh, that's cute little thing. Those better be, like, LEDs on there. There better not be actual arc reactors that they gave all the cheerleaders. That'd be insane. But, Tony just might.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like something he would do.
Yeah. Josh Reed, I gotta disagree with you here, buddy, because he says, I feel like this might be my favorite Iron Man film. It's certainly better than 3. I can't even get that mad at you for maybe thinking that Iron Man 2 is better than Iron Man 1, because Iron Man 3 is my favorite Iron Man movie, which nobody really agrees with, but I think Iron Man 3 is, like, one of the best MCU movies. I love it.
I remember it being, like, okay.
Yeah,
like, it was good, but like the other two were better.
Also, it's one of the movies I've seen more than any movie, just because it's
the one that you like the most out of the 3 Iron Man movies.
Well, no, because once I was, and I'll tell the story in more detail when we get to that episode. But we'd done this big move, and I had a tablet, and the only we didn't have internet all week. The only thing I had on the tablet was Iron Man 3.
Why?
So I just watched it throughout the day, like every day, like while I was doing stuff. I just had it on repeat. So I watched it like like probably 20 times a day for a week. So
I would hate it.
and the opposite effect on me. I loved it. I love it. I love Iron Man 3. We'll get there. Yeah, it's a lot of times. Just saying it out loud is kind of scary. Because it was all I had.
No,
like,
why was it the only thing you had?
I think it's just I
Did it come with the tablet?
No, it was like some app, and you could like, you know how in like Netflix app you can like download movies or whatever. I downloaded Iron Man 3 because I was like, if I'm ever on like a plane or something, I can just watch this, or a road trip, I'll just watch Iron Man 3. So I only had that downloaded, and so in that move, I didn't even think about it. But I was like, oh, what do I have to do? Oh, I guess I have Iron Man 3 on this fucking tablet, because I totally forgot I did. But I guess now I'll watch it like 20 times a day. Because it wasn't like I was staring at it every time. It's just like, you know, I was doing other stuff, but then I would watch it.
You just knew like the entire script.
I still
like, by
do.
heart.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god,
oh, it's such a great movie. Though. I love that. And Sebastian Matthias. Oh, I can't even say his last name because it has a non-English letter in it.
What?
I don't know.
Oh god,
I'm not even gonna attempt it, but that's a pretty fucking badass name. Sebastian is such a great name. Like, that's a fucking awesome name. And he also says it's not as bad as people think. Definitely better than 3. No, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Rourke and Rockwell are great comic book style over the top villains. Yeah, they're so good. They're so good. I think every single comment here is people going, Sam Rockwell's so great. Because he's so great.
He's like the best part of the movie.
So great. I feel like they won't ever bring him back, but they should. I don't think
they will.
There was some movie, I don't remember what, it's one that already came out, where they're like, oh, Sam Rockwell will probably fill that part of the movie, and then he didn't. It was some tech thing. He should have been part of Mysterio's team in Far From Home, because, you know, Tony fucked him over too, and that'd be great. That'd be great. It didn't happen.
Well, too bad. He's in prison somewhere.
Yeah.
Something.
Ultimate Movie Geek says, and this is the last one I'll read right now, other than the Paul stuff, which of course we're contractually obligated to. He says, I don't think Iron Man 2 is as bad as it's supposed to be, which I think is I think that's a hilarious comment. Yes, it's a similar story, but it opens the universe fairly well. Also introduces Black Widow, so what's not to like? She has her best hair in this film. Go back 10 minutes when we ranked her hair, but yeah. Yeah, you know, it's good hair. It's good hair. I'm not mad for you thinking that's the best hair.
It could be so much worse, and it definitely gets so much worse.
It gets so much worse, which is insane. She's a beautiful woman, and we shouldn't be telling her how to put her hair. That's probably an awful thing that we're doing. But you know what? I'll rank Tom Cruise's hair in the Mission Impossible movies. I'll rank her hair.
Okay. What's your ranking?
2, 6, 4, 1, 3, 5. Okay.
I haven't seen any of those movies, so that means nothing to me.
All you need to see is his hair. Jesus, Paul. Okay, whenever we
Did
give
you
him
send us a fucking novel?
Whenever we give him an MCU movie, he just goes ape shit because he's a corporate shill for Disney and he doesn't give a fuck. He only loves Disney and everything about it, and he's blinded by his love. But here we go. And again, I have not proofread any of this. Just always want to say that ready. For our lawyers on call. Let me start by saying I love Iron Man 2. It's a great movie, like all the MCU movies are, except the Hulk, Incredible Hulk, and Thor the Dark World, which are just okay. The race car suit up scene, I chef's kiss, which is something Nick Mason does where he goes, mwah, chef's kiss. So, Whiplash is pretty cool in the race car bit. This movie gave us the roadie. First saw this movie on Netflix when I was about 12, alongside Captain America, the First Avenger, and Thor, the first Thor, and I loved them all. First time I'd seen MCU movies, and they changed my life. He has a Spider-Man Homecoming tattoo, by the way. I don't know if you know that. Yep. Pepper doesn't seem like she likes Tony at all in this movie, despite him giving her the CEO job. The strawberries thing is funny. It's bad. Oh, you're allergic to strawberries? This also implements the joke I fucking hate. The running joke about him not being like he doesn't like people handing him things. It's such a weird thing. They do it in this, and then they do it in the Avengers, and then they never do it again. It's so weird. I guess he just...
Why do you hate it so much then? It's in 2 movies.
No, because it's a weird, like, attempt at a nice quippy character thing, and then it fucking falls flat every time. It's so weird. Like, why would they even try it? Nobody remembers it. It's just going back and seeing how much they want that to be a thing really annoys me. I think it's so bad. Love the donut scene. I do love the donut scene. That's really iconic to have, like, the one superhero who's in LA being, like, an LA monument. That's fun. As Californians, that's kind of fun to see. All the stuff with Tony's dad is super emotional, and I love it all. Weird out-of-place cap shield to go with the weird out-of-place cap from the perfectly average and enjoyable Hulk movie, the movie. Oh yeah, because it has that weird, watch Doctor Who, shameless unrelated plug. Paul has a YouTube channel about Doctor Who now.
I'm very aware.
I know you're aware. I'm telling other people. Maybe I'll link it below if you guys want to watch it. I don't fucking know anything about Doctor Who, but I'll watch every video.
Yeah, I could care less
just to
about
support
Doctor Who,
him.
honestly.
Absolutely love Justin Hammer. What a lad. I'd love for him to return and face the Young Avengers. My dogs are freaking out outside. I'm so sorry. With a super adaptoid, maybe. The ex-wife is the single funniest weapon ever committed to cinema. It's a really good joke just because of how well it's set up, I think. I love this movie. I've watched Fant Four Stick 2 times this week when I could have been watching Iron Man 2. Yeah, he's done it and he sent me pictures. Although I also love Fant Four Stick, and today, the day I wrote this, not the day of release, Gabe told me Kate Mara is in this and she's from Fant Four Stick. So I've related the two things together to make it relevant. Ha, Gabe, you brought it on yourself for not liking Fant Four Stick enough. I don't like it at all, actually. Iron Man 2 is a great film and I'd highly recommend it. Don't ignore my recommendation because I enjoy Fant Four Stick though, because Iron Man 2 pisses all over it in every way, but it's a bit of fun. We love you, Paul. You're the best. I don't know whose theme I'm using, but you can assume it's either Paul C's, Paul B's, or Noah's.
All of them combined together.
Yeah.
All playing at the same time.
Well, I did combine Paul's and Noah's one week, so, you know, I've
play
done
them
it
all
before.
at the same time, though.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Do that.
I should loop them over like 100 times, so once one starts, the next starts like 5 seconds in, and they just go on. And then
they go over the entire episode, like you can't even hear us.
You can't even hear us. Well, why would you want to? So Iron Man 2, probably one of the weaker MCU movies, but still a pretty fun and good movie. Even though it gets a lot wrong, I still really like it. I still think that it's underrated because people beat up this movie. I beat up this movie, but I still really like this movie. It's just it's easy to pick on.
It's deserved.
I
mean,
think so
it does
too.
do things wrong, but
I think it's still better than a lot of the stuff that we've watched.
Yeah.
But also we watched a lot of terrible TV movies with no budget, and this had a $200 million budget. Also, if it's $200 million, maybe make it a little better. I don't know. It's still good. It's still not as bad as... I think there's worse MCU movies. I don't think it's the worst one.
Thor.
I
Thor
like
the Dark
Thor
World.
1. Thor 1's kind of fun. Thor the first Thor, sorry.
Okay. The first Thor.
Well, that's it. So I don't want to edit this for any longer than it's already been. So,
okay.
so
that's fine. I don't think we have anything else to talk about.
Everyone's seen Iron Man 2 anyway. They'll have their own opinions.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen it in a while, maybe see it again. See how you feel.
I think definitely see it again because it's a fun movie, even if it's not amazing.
Yeah. Thor next week.
There are good things about it. Don't watch Thor.
No, watch Thor. Thor is fun too. Thor is the first MCU movie I ever saw, actually. So
I'm trying to think of the first one I saw. Probably Iron Man.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You want to start from the start.
I think I saw Iron Man and I saw Hulk and then I skipped over Thor. Like, I think I might have seen Captain America and then I saw this one and then I saw Avengers.
I had a weird order, but I'll get into that later when we have more time. Because I want to do things with my day.
Don't act like you actually do things.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit around and watch Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which Justin Theroux is in. The writer of this movie and the movie with Sam Rockwell, both Charlie's Angels characters are in this. Charlie's Angels is so bad, but it's kind of underrated, and I kind of love it. It's fun. Okay,
sure, it's
you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at MarvelMoviePod. You can find us on the emails at MarvelMoviePod@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at FlippedEgg. You can find me on Twitter at FlippedEgg, but the egg is a 3. You should rate us on iTunes and like this and comment and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell, my fellow gamers and gamer gals. You should, if you're watching this on YouTube,
awful. I hate this.
you should review this
on Yelp.
On Yelp. If you can find our Yelp page, my house, you should do that. Say some nice things about us. Share us around. That'd be great.
Gabe's address.
Find it.
Mail
It's not
him
hard.
bombs.
It's not hard. Yeah, mail me bombs. Make us t-shirts and stuff if you want to. That's fine.
And I want my board.
And get me my board. Franny is not.
I'll get you 10 birds.
Franny's not on social media because he lives in Russia and he makes weird knockoff arc reactors with his dying dad.
Hell yeah, I do.
What a life, Franny. What the fuck are you doing?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay. I wish this was video. Alright.
Nope.
Alright. You know what? I'm gonna leave it to their imagination. You could be doing something terrible.
Yep.
And he was.
Just imagine the worst thing that you could possibly imagine me doing, and I was probably doing it.
×3.
Yes.
Alright.
I want my bird.
A bird? You want a bird?
I want my bird.
I can get you a bird. I can get you 10 birds.
I want my bird.
Well, okay, nothing's impossible. Are we talking about... is this a bird back in Russia?